Alright guys, we're looking at your math boxes that I assigned for Tuesday, April 14th. This is page 263 in your math workbook. You're probably going to want scratch paper again. There isn't a whole lot of room for work, but I guess you could use the margins. On the first one, we went over this in your math lesson, what the number model with unknowns are, but if you look, there are 125 rose bushes to be divided equally into crates, each holding 5. There are 96 shrubs to be divided equally into crates holding 3. How many more crates will be needed for the shrubs than the rose bushes? So that tells us that there are more shrubs than rose bushes. So when we take a look at this, the first thing I'm going to do is the shrubs. 96 shrubs divided into groups of 3 minus the number of rose bushes. 125 rose bushes divided by 5. And that's going to equal the number of crates. And I did that with you in the math lesson, so you should have had that. We need to solve two different division problems. The first one, 96 divided by 3. And the second one, I'm going to do mine over here, is 125 divided by 5. You should try and solve those now using partial quotients division. When you're done, hit play and then I'll go over the work with you. Or if you get stuck, you can maybe get your first step. Alright, so solving the first one, I'm going to solve the shrubs first. I look at this 9. And what I'm thinking is, 3 times what is 9? And 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. I put a 0 there, I put a 0. And then I subtract. 6 minus 0 is 6. What times 3 is 6? 2. 3 times 2 is 6. And subtract. So your answer on this one is 32. So you're going to need 32 crates for the shrubs. Now for the rose bushes, you go over here and you look. 5 can't go into 1, but it can go into 12. So we're thinking, how many 5s can go into 12? That's 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Well, 5 times 2 is 10, but 5 times 20 is going to be 100. And I subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. 2 minus 0 is 2. And now we're thinking, what times 5 is 25? Or 25 divided by 5, essentially. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 5 is 25. And subtract, you get 0. There's your answer for this one. It is 25. So really what the problem becomes is 96 divided by 3 is 32. 125 divided by 5 is 25. 32 minus 25. Use red so maybe you can see 32 minus 25. Can't do 2 minus 5. Regroup from the 30. It becomes a 20. This becomes, use a different color for my regroup. That becomes 12. Okay, so 12 minus 5. When I do that, I usually try and add up. So I'm trying to get from 5 up to 12 because that's what this number would be. It's 5 more to get to 10, then 2 more after that to get to 12, so that's 7. 2 minus 2 is 0. So 32 minus 25 is 7. We're going to need 7 crates. Alright, moving on to this one. Pedro went to the mall with some friends. He walked 3/8 of a mile to Jesse's house. So 3/8. Another 2/8 to pick up Tony. And then another 1/8 to get to the mall. So that gives me, we're going to have 8ths as our denominator because your denominator doesn't change. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So it says circle all that apply. When you see that in your math journal, it generally means there's more than one. So the one that I know it is C. If you got 6/24, that's because you added the denominators. And when you add fractions, you don't add the denominators. If you got 5/8, you maybe forgot to add the 1 there or something, the 1/8. But 6/8, if you look, if I divide this by 2, if I divide each of them, what's half of 6? Half of 6 is 3. And half of 8 is 4. And I'll show you why that is. So here I have fourths. That's 1/3, or 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. If I make that into eighths, so there are my fourths. If I make this into eighths and split each of them in half, now I have 8 pieces. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 8. So the other answer here was 3/4. 3/4 of a mile is equivalent to 6/8 of a mile. All right. On number 3 and 4, I only asked you to do letter B's. I'm going to make them just a little bit bigger. And yes, I can still get them both on the screen. All right. So doing 702 divided by 3. What I look at first is I think to myself, how many 3's can go into 7? Or 3 times what gets me close to 7? And the answer is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. I'm going to fill my place values in with zeros. If I put 2 in here, I have to put 2 out there. 2 minus 0 is 2. 0 minus 0 is 0. And 7 minus 6 is 1. Okay, well, now I can think, can 3 go into the 1? No, it can't. But it can go into 10. So basically what we're trying to think of is something times 3 gets you close to 10 without going over. 3, 6, 9. That's 3 3's. 3 times 3 is 9. Because we're working with the 10, it's got to go underneath the 0. If you put it over here, you're going to end up with 900, and that's too much. So put a 0 there and a 0 there. Now that makes sense if you think about it. 3 times 30 is 90. That's about as close as I can get to. That's pretty close to 102. And I subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. 10 minus 9 is 1. 3 times what is 12? 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Then we subtract. Okay? When your remainder is smaller than your divisor, you are done. So your answer for this one was 234. Now remember, you were supposed to take a picture of this and this, if you could get them all in one picture, and then send them to my email. I had that email linked in the assignment yesterday on Schoology. So now we're going to look at this one. And the thing to think about when you're doing this is that 97 is 90 plus 7. And 54 is 50, oh, not 50 times 4, whoops, it's 50 plus 4. And we're multiplying those together. And each of them are going to get used twice. So when we start, we're going to start with the 50. Then we do 50 times 90, then we do 50 times 7. Now, we use the 50 twice there. So let's do those steps. The first step is 50 times 90. Now, what I do is I look and I see 2 zeros. 0, 0. All right. Now I can do 5 times 9 because I've basically taken care of those zeros. They're down here. And 5 times 9 is 45. I've used 50 once. Now I'm going to do 50 times 7 because that'll get me done with 50. I've used it twice. Now if you look, there's only 1 0 because the 7 doesn't have a 0. I'm done with that. 5 times 7. That's 35. I'm completely done with this 50. I've used it twice. I've used the 90 once, and I've used the 7 once. 50 times 90, 50 times 7. Now I'm going to use the 4. I've got to do 4 times 90, 4 times 7. Now if you look, when I do 4 times 90, there's 1 0 from the 90. And now I just have to do 4 times 9, which is 36. I'm done with that 90. I did 50 times 90, and I did 4 times 90. That's where I got these two from. Because there's 4 numbers, I'm going to have 4 add-ins at the end, things that I need to add. My last one is just 4 times 7. Now, no zeros there, so I can just do 4 times 7 is 28. And I add 0, 0, 0, 8. Okay, this one, 5 plus 6 is 11, plus 2 more is 13. Carry my 100. 5 and 1 is 6. 3 more is 9. 3 more is 12. Bring that up here. And 1 plus 4 is 5. So I get 5,238. Again, please remember to take a picture of your work from these two boxes and send it to me in an email this week. We might have a different way to do that, but I'm trying to work on getting a Zoom set up and get some different things to you before that. So, picture of box 3 letter B, box 4 letter B, email those to me. Now, your steps. This just wanted you to list the steps. So, if I were doing this for mine, I would say something like, oh, I can't move the screen when I've got the marker up. I would say something like, I looked to see how many threes could go into 7. I added, or maybe instead of added, put 2. That's not a good answer. That is 2, but 200 can go into 700. That left me with, I think it was, I'm going to scroll up to look. Yeah. That left me with 102. I did 30 more threes. That's 90. 102 minus 90 equals 12. That's 4 more threes. And then you could say a total of 234. So you may be at different steps, but as long as you got to 234, we're good. All right, have a great day.